Hi everyone, this is Gary from Eagl-s Print Solutions. Hope you're all keeping well with this coronavirus that's going about. Because we're doing a lot less work now than we used to because of the virus, I thought I'd use this time to educate myself with some new technologies. So just wanted to have a go with the OBS setup, and also to possibly educate yous if you're into doing design work yourself, making flyers, business cards, whatever it might be, posters. So I just wanted to run through a few of the basics, some things that I know people don't always consider. With us being a design shop and print studio as well, we come across all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So just to sort of point out some things that you might not be aware of when you're creating some artwork, and to sort of run through things we as a print studio do need and do expect to get the best quality end product to yourselves when it's done. So I'll sort of transfer over from the shop onto my computer screen, and then run through a few of the basics. So here we go. So now we're looking at my Corel Draw screen. This is a template that we have available on our website. It's a free template, we have quite a few. So if you go on to eagles.co.uk, you can see here the templates section. So if you click onto that, we've got templates for a few of the more common sort of products that you might come across. I'll just give it a minute just while it finds them. Here we go. So as you can see, they're all in PDF format. A5 template, landscape or portrait. Obviously you can use either and just spin it through 90 degrees to get which you want, but just for simplicity, for those who aren't sure. So A5s, A4s, a business card template that will be 85mm by 55, which is a standard business card size. Roller banner, so that one's going to be 2 meters tall by 80 wide, sort of a standard roller banner template. We've got A3 poster and then a couple of key rings. So if you download whichever template you need, and then upload it into your design software. As I say, we use Corel Draw. So this is the A5 one. As you can see, it gives you some guidance on there. So I wanted to run through what the bleed is, what the trim line is, what the safety line is. So what I'll do, just to make it a bit easier to follow when we get into doing a quick flyer setup, I'll just group those elements, and we can actually move them away to the side. So we've still got them there for reference so I can read. But so basically your A5 flyer finished size will be the magenta line there. So if you go up to the top, you can see the size of the rectangle. So a finished A5 flyer in landscape is going to be 210 wide, 10 millimeters wide by 148 tall. So that is what we're going to trim your artwork to give you your finished A5 flyer. Now, when you're creating your flyer, you need to give it a 3mm bleed all the way around. So if we click on the green line, you can see now that the dimensions are 216 by 154, which is a 3mm oversize all the way around. And you'll see why we do that as we get into laying out the design. And then the blue line is the safety line or the safe zone. So if you have any text that you want to include, I'll just use this for ease because it's there. Your text wants to be within the blue line. If you send it out to the edge of where your trim line is, there's a chance that some of your text, or whatever it might be, there might be an image that you need the whole of it for your design. If it's outside the safe zone, there is a chance that it can get trimmed off. So always bear that in mind. So you want a 5mm safe zone. Some people will say less, 4mm, but if you work to 5, you're sure that you're not going to get any text cropped off, trimmed away. So we'll move that across to the side again. So that's basically the main 3 dimensions you need to bear in mind when you're creating a flyer or any other artwork that you want printing. Generally, a 3mm bleed is pretty standard on anything. Certainly for us, you know, when we're trimming even large banners, I can work to 3mm without too much issue. More critical, as daft as it sounds, on multi-item orders. So if you're doing an order of say 500 flyers, 1,000 flyers, 10,000, whatever it might be, as they run through the print equipment, if they're slightly skew as they're running through, you can imagine one runs slightly this way, one runs slightly that way, and then you put them into one stack to guillotine them after they've been printed. That's when you run into your issues. So always bear that in mind, that as good as the print equipment is, we've just got to give it a margin of error so that we're not going to lose any critical information. Or again, if we don't use the bleed on the outside, we might end up with slithers of unprinted paper stock. And there's nothing worse, or nothing says this is a cheap product more than having white edges where there should be full colour print, and that's down to how the artwork's been set up in the first place. So more and more we're finding customers coming to us with artwork ready to print, supposedly print ready artwork that's been done on some software for creating flyers or posters, and there's no bleed, and they come through to us and give us all sorts of headaches. So we always suggest that you use the templates that we've got available to make sure you've got the correct amount of bleed and the safe zones and whatever. Also, we get customers coming to us saying, oh yeah, I've got this photo that I want to include on it, and invariably it'll be a Facebook image. And just so you know what happens, this is how they come across to us. If you use this artwork, so this is on my Facebook page, just gone on to one of my photos from one of my missions I had a while back. So taking a screen copy of that, and now I'll paste it. Paste, and that's as it's come across. Now if you look at the bottom of the screen, it tells you some more information. So it tells us that it's a bitmap image, it tells us that it's in the RGB colour palette, colour spectrum, and it's 72 by 72 dpi. Now for print runs, certainly for paper-based stuff, we need to be looking at 300 dpi. That's the sort of optimum resolution that most print equipment will run at, most that you'll find anyway. So this one's come through, it's not bad for size. So if I just increase the size to the 216 that we need it to be, it's actually 71 by 71 dpi now, which as you can imagine is a long way short of the 300 dpi that we're looking for. So that's not fantastic. If I zoom into it, you can see already it's pixelated. Now as a rule of thumb, if you enlarge your work table 4 times, so up to 400%, that'll give you an indication of how it's going to print. So there you can already see the pixelization coming through. So not ideal, you know, it's up to you at the end of the day. So long as you're aware of it and you're happy to run with it, then that's fine. So if we go back down to 100%, there you can see it. So now another thing that we come across time and time again is people will say, yeah, I've got photos that we'd like to use, and they send them through. I'll just show you how these images work as regards printing. So this has come through. Most cameras will take the photo and use the RGB colour palette, which is the same as your TVs, monitors, anything like that. They're all RGB. The problem comes when we come to print it. Most print technology, most common stuff that we use is what we call CMYK. So instead of red, green and blue colour palette, we've got cyan, yellow, magenta and K is black. So CMYK, as you'll heard it related to. So this is how it comes through, looks fantastic on your monitor. When we come to print it, anything there that you can see that's bright green, our printers can't recognise. Now a lot of it will be fine, and a lot of the times you'll get away with it. But if you've got strong blacks, what you find is, well, I call it haloing. So you'll get a strong black and then it's trying to blend into another recognised shade of black, and it gives you all sorts of weird and wonderful blacks. Some other colours also have issues, and it really does stand out on your printed flyer or post or whatever it might be if you don't do anything about it. Now, in this instance, by going up to bitmaps, converting to a bitmap there, it'll come up and give us, so convert to bitmap. Now 300 dpi resolution and colour mode, change it to CMYK. So you have all sorts of different colour palette or colour scales that it will use. Needs to be CMYK. So if we convert it now, watch what happens to the bright greens, the things that are out of gamut. It's now tweaked it and put it into a colour scale our printers can use. So it does slightly change the colour range, but it will give a far better finish than sending an image to print in RGB. And what you'll also notice down at the bottom again, where it was 71 dpi, it's now converted it to 300 dpi. So you'll still have the same sort of pixelization, but it is ready to print at that. Now that's because it's come through from Facebook, and I think what Facebook does is compress their images to save on file space or whatever it might be. So if I take that image out and look for another image that we might be able to use, just bear with me while these load up. So I'm going into pictures and find, what should we go for? Just bear with me, I'm trying to find something that might be more use. Struggling to find one, so we'll just go with that. So straight away you can see that this image is far bigger. It's brought it in at over a metre wide by almost 650 mil, 65 centimetres tall. So if we go in there to fit, again these images are out of gamut, so if I just turn that off for the time being. So that's as the image comes through. Now again, just as sort of a default, it's brought it in at 72 dpi, but we know the image only wants to be 216 across. Now 216 tall there. So that now has brought it up to 216 straight away. Now what we can do is go into bitmaps, resample and change that to 300 dpi. So that's changed it down at the bottom end. So if I look now, bring that bitmap below the rectangles, we can actually see how big that is. In fact, it's too big. So let's do a rough sizing. Keep doing that, don't do that. So, zoom into that. So now you can just about see the lines behind the photo. And now we're up to 419. Now you might think 419 is great, but that can have some adverse effects on the final product as well. You can get some hatching through your photo, so that they always really need tweaking to 300 dpi. So we can check that down at bottom again, and it is 300 dpi. So there we have it. As you can see, the photo is running well off the 3mm bleed even. So what we can do, a non-destructive way of doing it, if we go into Object, Power Clip, Place Inside Frame, now that is inside. So we know we've got a 3mm bleed. So that'll be fine, size-wise. So really, what's a flyer without any text? Like that could be a poster, say, same rules apply for posters. So if we put fantastic flyer demo, we can scale that and change it to a colour I might actually be able to see. So again, we want the text inside the frame, so it can be anywhere inside the blue line. That's going slightly too low. Even the drop of the Y there needs to be inside. So I'm just checking it, see how we did with the colour palette. So that hasn't changed the colour palette yet, so we'll be back up to bitmaps, convert to bitmap, and again make sure it's CMYK. So what we need to do is edit the power clip. Edit the power clip onto that element, bitmaps, convert to bitmap, CMYK, OK, and now that's brought it back into gamut. Click finish, and that puts it back into the power clip. So obviously when you send your artwork across, you don't want sort of the template guides, if you like. So it's just a case of either deleting the rectangles, or hiding them so they're unprintable layers, or whatever it might be. So So I think basically that's it for laying it out. So when you come to export it, if you select everything, so that'll select all your text and your image. Obviously you can put a lot more text in there, you can put multiple pictures in. So that's ready really to either save it or to export. So if you click, go into File, Export, it'll give you a list of options of what file format you want to save it in. Now, we would generally use PDF for saving the artwork. So change it to PDF. You can use EPS, but this is our go-to on PDF. It works well no matter what printer we're using. And then call it whatever you want. Fantastic flyer. And then export. And that will, in this case, go on to your desktop. So I hope that's helped a few people to know what the bleed is, what the trim line is, the finish size of your product, and your safe zone. We've obviously gone through things being out of the colour spectrum that the printer can use, so out of gamut. So hopefully that's been some use. If there's anything else you think I might have missed or anything else you'd like me to go through, then just leave a comment or get in touch. Obviously if I can help, I will do. We always try and give the best customer service we can, and I believe it helps you and it helps us when we come to print, just by getting it right first time, print ready to run, and it's good for us all. So I hope you found it helpful. As I say, if you want to leave any comments, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear it.